much anticipated film Rogue One. Plus, the cleanup begins in Costa Rica after a late season hurricane hits that island nation.
After a late season hurricane hits that island nation.
After a late season hurricane hits that island nation. And when we come back, meteorologist Chris Sowers will have your exclusive AccuWeather 7-day forecast.
CBSNews.com, world's happiest countries. The island nation of Costa Rica garnered the number 14 spot on the list. Pratt, Daily Tribune, 1920, government of Costa Rica recognized. Washington, August 2nd, the State Department announced today that the government recently set up by the island of Costa Rica has been officially recognized by the United States. Honolulu, Hawaii, 2013, hotels score well for packing rooms in Sun Island locations. Where they go? Sun Island destinations, including Maui, Maldives, Kauai, Hawaii Island, Aruba, Costa Rica, Jamaica, Bahamas. Wow. Des Moines, Iowa, 1933. Nature's Smithy. Volcano Irazu on the island of Costa Rica during recent eruption. Associated Press. Windsor, Ontario, 2009. Dose.ca and Alliance are giving away one lucky winner a chance for a 9-day adventure-filled excursion for two to discover the beautiful island of Costa Rica, complete with flights and accommodations and without the violence, of course. Book, Conservation Biology in Theory and Practice, 1996. The population on the island of Costa Rica was 1,800 in 1975-76 and 270 in 1985-86. California, 1905, a Costa Rican volcano. On the island of Costa Rica is a remarkable volcano, Poás. The crater has an altitude of about 8,500 feet. Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, 1985, Telecaster, country sportsman Bobby Lord and Johnny Russell fish for tuna and dolphin on the tropical island of Costa Rica. Nebraska, 1919, brother of leader of island of Costa Rica is assaulted. North Carolina, 1882, the earthquake that has recently devastated the island of Costa Rica destroyed 4 towns and many thousands of lives are reported lost. Book, Screen Adaptations, a script writing handbook. One of the most popular and successful action-adventure movies in recent years is Michael Crichton's Jurassic Park, 1990. Starting point, the novel begins on the island of Costa Rica. Florida, 1930, smallpox ravaging the island of Costa Rica will be attacked within 24 hours by 400 pounds of serum rushed by airmail from Philadelphia and Indianapolis. Postage, $2,200. The Tennessee, 1994, empowerment of voting. The program was started in the United States by 3 businessmen 6 years ago, but its real origins are in the small island nation of Costa Rica. Little Rock, Arkansas, 1892, telegraph brief. Several genuine cases of yellow fever have developed on the island of Costa Rica.
You have probably heard a little bit about the 10 Island Challenge. In 2011, we realized in the carbon war room that there was a lot of degradation happening, that all islands were having to import 100% of their fuel. It was all fossil fuel. We saw it as an opportunity. The first thing we did is we realized that we started with Aruba. You had a very motivated prime minister who wanted to take his island off of fossil fuels. We chose Rio Plus 20 to announce it. You'll see current president of the Carbon War Room and former president of Costa Rica, Jose Maria Figueres, doing the announcement. Richard, of course, Mike Emmon from Aruba. We thought we were announcing taking one island off of fossil fuels. Christina said, how about 10 islands and how about 2015?
Maryland, 1905, shipman Ricardo Iglesias, a native of the island of Costa Rica, who graduated from the Naval Academy with the class of 1903. TACBeraBlogspot.com, July 2015, the small island nation of Costa Rica has pledged to be carbon neutral by 2021. Ohio, 1980, Rotary meets. David Fletcher, program chairman, introduced Ellen Hugo, who was an exchange student to the island of Costa Rica. She told of her experiences in that country. The Global Experience blog. As you can probably tell by the title, I'm soon leaving this beautiful island nation of Costa Rica and returning to the bitter cold of reality, Canada. Being here on the ground, out in the open, and right in the middle of social work has taught me so much, and I will be returning to the snow a changed person. Salt Lake Tribune, 1906. The past 6 years, General Casman spent on the island of Costa Rica, where he built a railroad for that government, which was completed about a year ago. GamblingSuites.net. Digital gaming solutions and online casino software provider based in the island nation of Costa Rica. If you've grown weary of the selection offered by leading developers such as IGT and Real Time Gaming, then this company offers another option for an evening of high or low stakes gambling. The Los Angeles Times, 1900. News has been received of a destructive storm which swept over the island of Costa Rica last week. Miles of railroad track were damaged, the fruit plantations were injured, and communication with Port Limon was cut off. New York, 1920. Thompson and Benito Bonito, the latter famous as the last of the great pirates, are supposed to have buried pirate jewels and money valued at $21 million on the island of Costa Rica early in the 19th century. Ohio, 1920. On the island of Costa Rica near Cocos Bay, the juice of a certain shellfish which abounds there is used for dyeing. OnlineCasinoSuite.com, September 2007. On the island nation of Costa Rica, taxes on the lucrative online casino industry are sky high. If Bill 16450 is passed into law, an even heavier tax burden could send many online casinos bolting from the country, leaving an untold number of citizens unemployed. Book, Great Stories for Modern History, 1989. On the island of Costa Rica, there used to live a golden toad. Actually, only the male was golden, and even then he was more of a day-glow orange, while the female was dark green with red spots. So striking was the male's coloring that he was often used on posters advertising Costa Rica as a destination for wildlife tourists. Ecobusiness.com. The island of Costa Rica generated enough renewable energy to power itself for 300 days of the year, largely through hydropower. FinancialExpress.com. World News. An Indian origin Wall Street woman executive was killed in a tiger shark attack on the remote island of Costa Rica. Florida, 1941. Tiny American island nation defies Nazis. Costa Rica refuses to recall consuls from the occupied territory. Movies. Survival. Since March 1963, the peaceful island of Costa Rica has suffered the warmth of the active volcano Residual, the lifeblood industry of the nation. Coffee is threatened with extinction everywhere. The dog gray of Residual's might makes the nation fight bravely for its survival. 1977, Calgary, Alberta. Claude Hope on the island of Costa Rica has been breeding coleus with spectacular results. Pennsylvania, 1949. Edwin Messenger took for his subject the island of Costa Rica. He painted a very fine mental picture of his country, which is one of the stepping stones across the ocean from Florida to the Orinoco River. The newspaper article is referring to the Orinoco River, which comes to an end off the coast of Venezuela right here. If you were traveling from Florida to the Orinoco River currently, you would do somewhat of a straight line, and you would by no means be using Costa Rica, which is located here just above Panama, as a stepping stone. Now, if things were laid out the way they were when I was young and I learned my geography, which I loved a lot, Mexico, the southern tip of it would have been a little bit straighter. Central America would have came down, done its little loop-de-bit into the top of South America, which is right here now. And Costa Rica was I know for a fact, was a rectangle, relatively, a rectangle island. It was smaller than Cuba. It was maybe around the size of the Dominican and Haiti island. It was pointing in the north-south direction. If things were laid out like that, and you were leaving Florida and going to the Orinoco River, you would probably leave, hit the edge of Cuba, come down, hit Costa Rica, and then go down and over to the Orinoco River, which would have been more around the delta. That would have been around here. Book, The Canadian Nurse, Department of Private Duty Nursing. Even today, one hears arguments against vaccination, but if one will impartially study the course of the disease and note that the island of Costa Rica, which was never free from the plague, and which held a population few of which had escaped it, was completely cleaned up by the United States in 1 year by vaccination, one can only conclude the prevention is effective. Book stumbling into paradise. "Hey, this is some adventure, Ruthie, you gotta admit," he said to his wife back. "Wait until the bridge club hears the story. I can't wait to show them pictures of us hunting monkeys on the island of Costa Rica." Delaware, 1929, Major Glassborn told of his experiences in South America and the Panama Canal Zone during the war. Plaguing the efforts of the German spies and agents to damage the canal, Major Glassborn told of the destruction of the plane on the island of Costa Rica, which was to be used by a German agent to damage the canal. Book Timber Trees and Forests of North Carolina. Live oak, large evergreen tree. It is found near the coast from Virginia to South Florida and along the Gulf Coast of Mexico, extending through western Texas and the valley of the Red River, the Apache and the Grand Loop Mountains, and into Mexico at elevations of 6,000 to 8,000 feet, and in the island of Costa Rica, reaching its best development in the South Atlantic states. Maryland, 1893, the Marine Hospital authorities were today notified by the consul at Costa Rica through the State Department that yellow fever is still prevalent in Limahl, in the island of Costa Rica. Kansas, 1897, we this week publish a very interesting letter from Ed C. Franklin to his parents, as this treats of his travels in the island of Costa Rica. Everyone should read it, as it is very instructive. Texas, 1931, dairy stock. A few months ago, another son of Valor symbol, was sold to Gabriel Bernie Ibarra of the island of Costa Rica. This animal was shortly afterwards awarded Grand Champion of all the breeds in the Costa Rica Dairy Show. Michigan, 1947. Life in a foreign country is not new to the couple, as they lived on the island of Costa Rica, preceding Mr. Durham's present assignment.